Our weather is about to go through a very strange weather pattern, everyone. And I'm not talking about what's in the Gulf right now. We're even getting chances for those water spouts, just like I warned you about, right along the Gulf Coast. And we're going to get another day possibility of those. We also have strong ridge riding storms that's coming across this high ridge for today, for tomorrow, bringing a threat for tornadoes for today. So far, not for tomorrow. And I'm not even talking about those, which are powerful in itself with some damaging winds. I'm talking about this transition that we're about to go into, where we have this little plume of moisture in between these two plumes of dust traveling across the MDR, the main development region, and coming towards the Lesser Antilles in about a week. Now, this is right where we're about to get this front coming through next Wednesday and beyond, where you're still going to be above average temperatures, where you still have this long duration heat dome going for the south across the southeast. But you also have this cool down coming across the Great Lakes and the Northeast, showing that will be part of the catalyst, this front, that could bring some formation towards the northern Gulf. It could be very tricky. It could be on land at that, but it could be right on the northern Gulf where something could form and strengthen up rather quickly, while we have this sneaky wave still coming between those two plumes of dust, and either something can form or something will not form. It is a 50-50 right now, but we need to watch it very carefully, because you don't want this traveling all the way towards the Bahamas. All of a sudden you have 48 hours to prepare for something that's going to intensify right along the coast. So I'm going to show you all the information in this video, what our weather is about to do right around the corner. Now remember, our heat indices for today is going to be the strongest day for the north, where it goes way up towards the north. After that, we go towards the weekend where it transitions towards the northeast. Then you get your cool down for the northeast, and then it stays around the mid-Atlantic, the Carolinas, and around the south and the southeast. So we do have this disturbance in the Gulf. I will go through this. This is no surprise on my channel. They knew about this over a week ago, that this possibility was coming through. Still showing, if any strength, only a little bit. This might get up to a 20% chance as this goes further towards the west. Showing that this will go right towards Texas with the lower part of this system. The upper part is going to get sheared and go towards Louisiana and northeastern Texas. So it's just going to bring some rainfall along the Gulf Coast. Now for today, on your temperatures, you're still going to be in your average temperatures across the southwest, over 100 to 104 degrees or more, while these 90s kick all the way towards the Great Lakes, all the way towards the Mid-Atlantic and the southeast for today. Now remember, these temperatures are taken in the shade. Also getting some high 90s, even 100 right over here across the central U.S. Now remember, overnight, you're going to have the warmest temperatures overnight be in the high 70s, maybe even the 80s, even the high 80s, where you're just not going to get no relief. And once again, with the heat indices, this is going to go straight from the south, straight towards the north, even towards Minnesota for today, where you're going to feel like 103, 104 degrees, while this comes right on up towards Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Now, the overnight lows is going to be cooler across the northern Rockies, the north central, and the upper Midwest, but you still have that big pocket of 80s overnight that's going to keep you warm overnight with all these muggy temperatures, all these dew points going on. So if you can, keep the air on, everyone. And once again, for tomorrow, this is where we're going to start getting that transition towards the northeast for Friday. Across the southwest, you're still going to be warm. You're going to be even warmer for tomorrow. While this goes all the way towards the Great Lakes for tomorrow, starts transitioning towards the northeast and the southeast. So now you're going to be in the temperatures of over 100 degrees potentially for Texas, Oklahoma, northern Louisiana, Arkansas, and Missouri, even portions of Mississippi. Well over 100 degrees. Remember, once again, this is taken in the shade. Heat index value, once again, is going to be terrible for tomorrow as well. This is where it transitions towards Michigan. As you go through Friday, it's going to go towards the northeast and break those records I told you about. Then as you go for Saturday and Sunday, it's going to transition further south towards the Carolinas. Now, yesterday was a very strange day. We had 36 wind reports, but we also had a tornado report in New Jersey. And for today, you do have that slight risk that has grown a little bit. We do have the threat for tornadoes, which has upgraded a little bit as well. We have the 2% and the 5%. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for a potential tornado for today. The hail threat is going to be a minor threat. You only have a 5%, but you do have a threat. So here's your cities and states at risk for potential hail for today. And your wind threat, which is what you're going to see a lot of as you go through for today and tomorrow, especially in the 15%. So here's your cities and states at risk for damage and winds for today. So you can see this here on reflectivity. So as it shows what Could be happening through the day. You can see how that MCV weakens down and you get that capping, and those thunderstorms really disappear as you go through for this morning. Maybe this afternoon you could get those thunderstorms for northern Wisconsin, still showing it going further and further towards the north, while you get these storms building up for South Dakota through Minnesota, bringing damage and winds with those as well. Now, as you go into the afternoon, showing you might get a discrete cell or a cluster of storms forming up in Wisconsin where there is some strong winds aloft, like I just showed you. Also on these storm cells, bringing damage and winds with those, where you could get a quick spin up of a tornado as that goes through. Also for far northern Wisconsin, maybe going into western UP of Michigan. So you need to watch out for that also, all the way to 4 and 5 p.m. Then it turns into a damage and wind event. You can see the bow and line feature pushing out, representative of winds pushing through, while you get some clusters of storms moving through for the thumb of Michigan, maybe more likely in the UP, northern Wisconsin. And then you get this linear event of thunderstorms building. Also what comes across for the Rockies, for Wyoming, Montana, going towards Dakota and Nebraska as you go through later in the evening, bringing damage and winds more than likely. Showing chances for today anywhere from 40 miles per hour wind gusts in the green, 50 in the orange, 60 in the red, even some isolated 70 in there. So watch out for that group of storms coming from South Dakota through southern Minnesota, showing some strong winds in there. Also for northern Wisconsin, stronger from Minnesota and South Dakota. Also it comes from Wyoming through western Dakotas and western Nebraska. Then for tomorrow, when that comes across, it's going to strengthen again as it goes across, maybe coming off the Rockies, but for northern Missouri, Illinois, southern Wisconsin, going across the lakes, and for Michigan. Also showing some hail is coming with these storms as well, especially what comes across all the way from South Dakota across Minnesota and northern Wisconsin have your best chance for the largest hail. You also have chances for Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, eastern Montana, and the western Dakotas, what comes off later this evening. Then for tomorrow, you have a chance as well, but it's going to be a smaller threat. So just showing what we can see today on the information, I think it could be upgraded right here just for the chance for hail. You might even get a pocket of significant. Now for tomorrow, it's going to be a weaker event. So far, there's no threats for tornadoes. It is going to be for wind and a small threat for hail. So far, here's your cities in Colorado at threat for possible hail for Thursday. Also for your wind threat for Thursday. Here's your cities and states at risk so far. Now, Friday is going to be a milder event. You can see an isolated thunderstorm in any of this green area. You mostly have a 5% over here across the upper Midwest and north central. Also over here towards New England, it is a low threat, chances for winds and hail. But so far, here's your cities and states at risk for potential severe weather for Friday. Now, let's go through the latest tropical update, because what I'm seeing around the corner is still tricky and it could be a problem, everybody. Potentially could not be a problem as well. It's a 50-50, but it's something just to watch. We're not at alert mode. We're just at a watch mode at the moment. Now, this is going to get pushed and steered to the west by the upper level high. And right now, you're at a 10% chance in 48 hours, 10% in 7 days. I'm showing just could go up to a 20% chance maybe. But that's as far as it's probably going to go as this goes further towards the west. But you can see the whole pattern here from our vorticity, what's happening and what could be happening around the corner for the whole pattern in the tropics. So you can see as you have this big heat dome still going up, you still have this going across the Gulf, showing still that it's actually going to be a group of thunderstorms that's mingling with an upper level low over here. And then if it stays off land long enough, it could form the best chance, showing it's still going to be right along the Gulf. It's going to get steered and sheared, and then it's going to get pushed towards the west, going towards Texas. Still a big and broad system. So you still got the Ridge Rider storms that's going to come across towards the north. So you're going to be talking about that potentially over the weekend. But as we go into next week, here comes that cool front, that little trough coming through, bringing drier air but cooler temperatures across the Great Lakes in the northeast. This is bringing that below average anomaly. While you stay very hot in the south, getting those strong dew points and strong humidity and getting strong heat indices, remember a long duration events, while you have something that might form front induced in the Gulf, at the same time you have something traveling over here by the Caribbean, getting steered towards the southeast, trying to get multiple systems to form up. And it could just be a group of disorganized thunderstorms because of the dust. It is moving right in between two plumes. If you remember that scenario I told you that we need to watch this, because if it travels in between two plumes of dust, we could have a problem. And we still have that potential. So what's going on in the Gulf? The Euro brings it all the way up towards a 30, even a 40% chance, going towards a 50% chance just for getting a tropical depression. This will be at the last moment right before landfall when it runs out of time is the way it's looking. Now, if you look again, you'll see, oh, wow, it's starting to grow. It's going to stay there and grow. No, this is actually that next front coming next week, trying to produce something else in the same area, everyone. Even getting a bigger, broader area where something could grow. But at the same time, we could have something coming across the MDR that could get away from this dust and form up while we still get formations into the Eastern Pacific across Costa Rica. So let's go through this. What we have first in the Gulf, you can see with the Euro ensembles, you have a chance for something weak to form up as you go through for tomorrow, and then maybe either get a tropical depression or upper level low. Either way, it's a 50-50. We're only looking at two members here, everybody, so it's not really a lot of confidence. Either way, we will follow it just in case, and your worst case scenario is just going to be rainfall. This is going to be east side and north side loaded, so it's not going to be a whole bunch for Texas. So when you look at your upper level winds, you can see you're getting a lot of winds steering from the northeast going towards the southwest. This is called northeasterlies, and this is going to keep pushing this system over into this direction, trying to go towards Texas while it's getting pushed with the winds and is keeping it not vertically stacked, everybody. You can also see that with your steering winds from this high pressure, we have a big plume of dust coming through, bringing a lot of winds coming around and pushing this towards the north, just like the last scenario, and trying to do the same thing with this system, trying to push the precipitation north while the lower level spin moves to the west. So it's not going to be vertically stacked, showing its best chance as we go towards Thursday into Friday. It's going to try and form up something here, but you can see the winds just pushing right against this and really hindering development. It's keeping it pushed further north into the Gulf while it goes further west with its spin. So it's really not going to be vertically stacked, just a big nothing burger. Precipitation. So you can see the latest information right here on the European. So as you go through for tomorrow, you have something big and broad in the Gulf. Just bring a rainfall, bring your threats of water spouts as this goes through for Friday and tries to strengthen up in this one area right here where it's just going to bring a lot of heavy rainfall. It's probably going to bring more threats of water spouts than it gets pushed further inland. So it goes towards land with the system. The precipitation is going to get pushed and sheared to the north. It's not looking well at all on vorticity. Just a big, broad system that tries to strengthen up at the last moment as it goes west. And you can see right there in the high pressure, you have all this dust coming with this, and this has helped keeping that sheared to the north as well. But you can also see the come-in pattern, everyone. So check this out. As we go past this and all this dust pushes all that precipitation in, and we go into next week. Next week is where we're going to get this plume of dust coming through while we get this front coming through, trying to create something right along the northern Gulf. You see how it tries to spin something up right along the northern Gulf as we go through for next week. So we definitely got to watch that, make sure that don't form up into something very close where we could get maybe a stalled front and it just sits there and builds and builds. That would be a bad scenario. While we get this plume of dust that comes through with a big plume of moisture in between another plume of dust. So if this travels with it the whole time, it'll have a chance to strengthen as this is getting pulled around the high pressure over here by Bermuda that is weakening down and going towards the east, giving this a chance to go into either this direction or into this direction. If the high pressure retracts back, if the high pressure expands, it could push it into that direction. So there's multiple directions it can go on. The latest run, the latest deterministic, shows that more likely will stay weak so far and won't have a lot of time to build. Ensembles is showing that we need to watch this very closely. And you can see this when you check the chances for a tropical depression. So what's in the Gulf in 72 hours, moving to the west-northwest, while you get the waves going through Costa Rica into Eastern Pacific. Then once we go into next week, once we go Thursday and beyond, this is where we have the chances for something front-induced in the Gulf. We also have that wave that's moving through from the MDR, going by the Lesser Antilles, and then moving further towards that west-northwest, while we get something front-induced right along the coast, either in the Gulf or right along the mid-Atlantic. Showing the possibilities in the ensembles, you can see here with the Euro first, when we go through that transition, as we get something forming up, more than likely by the Lesser Antilles, by the Leeward Islands, showing more ensembles agreeing that something could be trying to form here, but most of them are showing something weak, while something in the Gulf tries to form at the same time, and showing that could strengthen up potentially, going right by the Bahamas, but maybe going steered around this high pressure. Maybe the high pressure is going to retract back to Azores and just go into the Atlantic, but we still need to watch something that close to home. Strengthening up possibility to that would be very worrisome. While we get that front right along the Gulf that tries to strengthen up rather quickly as we go into this period, everybody. You can see the same transition with Euro AI, showing if that system gets anything, it will be late. It will be a very weak tropical depression by Texas, maybe just bringing some more rainfall towards you while everyone else is getting the main amount of rainfall. Then we go through this portion where something can happen in the Gulf, and we get another wave coming through in between the plumes of dust, showing it more likely will stay weak by all these ensemble members because of the dust. But if it catches up and the dust moves into a different direction, showing we can start seeing strength. Not only what happens in the Atlantic from what's going around the high pressure, what's in the Gulf, and is this going into the Atlantic or is this turning into our Gulf later on? So we definitely need to watch this next transition. So far, latest update by Global Tropics has a 20% right along the coast of the Carolinas going across Florida into the Gulf for formation possibility, while more likely will form into the Eastern Pacific going up to 40%. And so far, as we go past the first week of August, showing more likely everything will get pushed into the Eastern Pacific, so I will keep you updated. And that is your weather forecast, everyone. So thank you again for your time. I will talk more about the app as we go into tomorrow. Remember, the links are in the description of this video if you want to go sign up so when it goes live. We're going to try and get that to go live as we go into this weekend. If you find this information helpful, think about hitting that share button down below. As you well know, it does lots of wonders and helps lots of people. Thank you so much. Now, before I go, a quick word from our Father, everybody. Matthew 24:29 through 35. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn a parable of a fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Amen. Have a great day, everyone. Be aware of these storms passing through if you are in them. I will keep you updated what's around the corner with the tropics, and make sure you endure the heat. Today's going to be a strong day, but we have many more coming just like it. Thank you again for your time, and remember, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everyone. Make sure you hydrate.